Secretary General Ace Magashule to speak on the ANC's national-to-national list, which have seen a number of objections for the likes of Gwede Mantashe, the likes of Nomvula Mokonyane, Msebenzi Zwane, Begicele as well, whom the BLF has also objected on, and also the President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, amongst issues that also relate to the book written by Puta Louis Meyberg on Ace Magashule's days in the Free State, titled The Gangster State, Unraveling Ace Magashule. I'm just going to go straight to him, starting on the ANC's controversial list to the National Assembly. SG, you've received a number of complaints, grievances to the IEC and objections on your national-to-national list on some names pro-President Cyril Ramaphosa and some who were anti-President Cyril Ramaphosa and pro-former President Jacob Zuma in those ANC days of the two internal divisions within the party. What's your view on that list and the objections?
You know what is surprising me, Samkel, is that this process of the list started in 2018, September. We are now here, and the ANC branches went through this process rigorously so, democratically so. The National Executive Committee set up the list committee. The provinces set up provincial list committees. In December, we had the National List Conference, which constituted of provinces, national executive, the alliance. We adopted a list by the National Executive Committee, because any committee, any committee of the ANC, it's a subcommittee. It reports and accounts to the National Executive, because elected people are not committees. It's the National Executive Committee. So every province, the provincial working committee of every province has been involved in the list. They will see. And before I could even go and register the list, the National List Committee has almost 31 meetings. We have been briefing the top 6. The provinces have been briefed, conveners of provinces. It has never happened even before 1994, even after 1994. This is the first time that we have been so democratic. And all these names all the time, be it Gwede Mantashe, Nomvula, they have been there on the list. Everybody knew that.
But SG, at the time, there were no revelations of Bosasa, there were no revelations of the Guptas, of state capture, that has taken place over the past 3 to 4 years. Now there are revelations, whether they be allegations at this point in time, because nobody has been found guilty by any court of law for state capture. But Gwede Mantashe is said to have benefited from Bosasa. Nomvula Mokonyane is said to have benefited from Bosasa through the testimony of Agrizi and other former executives of Bosasa.
You know, in South Africa, and in terms of the Electoral Act, in terms of the constitutional, Pella, we are a constitutional state. We are nothing else. If you guys remember, when the Free State ANC lost a case in the Constitutional Court, people said we must respect the law, the supreme law of the country. Now, the supreme law of the country says a person who's a criminal is a person who has been found guilty by a court of law. The Electoral Act says the same. The rules of the ANC guide that the ANC National Executive Committee has a right to intervene in terms of 20 names. I can tell you, at times people think this is Ace Magashule's list. It can't be. There were people not there in the list. For instance, to address the national question, Dr. Kurenov was nowhere in the list. But the National Executive felt he must come higher up because of the national question. Frolic, a member of parliament, was far down on the list, 436 or so. The National said we must actually lift him up.
The same
President Zuma was there. He volunteered to get out. Mandla Mandela was not there. Because the ANC NEC was allowed 20 names for intervention. Provinces had also the right to intervene. But nobody could touch the 25%. And if you talk Begicele, if you talk Nomvula Mokonyane, if you talk Now you're talking President Ramaphosa because of PLF. I, as Secretary General, I hear what people say. I come from the culture and tradition of the ANC. When the ANC leaders are attacked, I'm the first point of defense for that leadership. It is attacked because there is an agenda. There's the agenda of reversing the gains of our revolution. They will talk for themselves, but I can tell you.
What evidence do you have that there is an agenda? Because it is your leaders who have went to Bosasa, who have spoken to Bosasa allegedly, solicited funds from Bosasa through the testimony of Agrees, to the testimony of Venter. It is your president's son, Andile Ramaphosa, who has openly admitted with the president in the National Assembly, also being accused of having lying to the National Assembly and later on correcting himself. It is Gwede Mantashe who received security upgrades. It is Cedric Floric, who is close to Gavin Watson. It is Vincent Smith, who received security upgrades from his home. So what agenda is there when your own leaders are allegedly compromising themselves?
How many others have been alleged to have done certain things in the entire country, not even just ANC? I know people say the ANC in terms of its integrity is different from the rest, but there is no way the ANC itself may want to deal with its own members who also have constitutional rights. Any member, if you remove him from the list, you talk integrity or whatever, he will go to the Constitutional Court and say, my rights as a citizen. And I think they are right. And I'm telling you, those leaders will talk for themselves. Innocent until proven otherwise. It's a universal principle. Why do you want to attack Comrade Mantashe? Because I can see the persistent attack on certain leaders, diversion from others, deliberately so.
Who's diversion from who, SG?
Time and space is important in politics. Things will actually happen. So, but geopolitics, the politics of the world have changed. The ANC, I can tell you, is the target of those who want to reverse the gains of our revolution. We will talk about these things. Lies are splashed there, well-coordinated lies. Repeat them and repeat them and repeat them and repeat them until people believe them.
Can you give me one example of a lie that has been told?
There are so many lies.
Lies about you and the Guptas?
People have said, yeah, there are lies about me and the Guptas. Wait and see when I take legal action, because they are well coordinated, well planned, well orchestrated, deliberate to weaken the ANC, to deal with me. And I can tell you, I'm not the product of anything. I'm the product of the ANC structures.
Who wants to deal with you?
We'll come to that, because I'm following the legal route. You are actually going to see how we expose lies and defamation.
Have you started with that legal process?
I've started. I'm watching the space. I'm taking my time. I'm not emotional. But I can tell you, these are simple lies. Somebody carries 10 million and gives you 10 million.
Are you corrupt?
I am not corrupt. I am not corrupt. Go to the Free State, go and check what we have done there. When it's white, there's no corruption. I will give you the companies in the Free State which got work throughout years, even when I was there. Nobody talks about any white company which has consistently. So that space in court, that's where I will actually, and it won't be long, soon and late, we will be in that space.
Who are you taking legal action on?
Well, of course, I'll take legal action against any person who have said I'm corrupt. Because what people are doing, they are saying, we are not saying you are corrupt, we are alleging that you are corrupt.
Did you?
Because they want to avoid the legal route. But whatever, I'm taking the best brains in the country legally. And I can assure you, the ANC is in good space. The ANC is not going to be shaken. Its leaders must be defended. Society, we are not an arrogant organization. Our structures must be out there and defend the African National Congress.
On the piece of paper that you have in your hand right now, I'm not sure if my colleagues can show it, you've got the entire national to national list of the ANC. I saw bits of it of you coming in.
Yeah.
Do you think that list that you have there represents the ethos, the values of South Africans whom voted for the first time for Tata Nelson Mandela in 1994, whom later on voted for former President Thabo Mbeki, later on in 2009 through the hands of former SG Kgalema Motlanthe, when the ANC fractured for the first time post-democracy with the formation of COPE, voted in 2009 former President Jacob Zuma. 2014, yet again, a fracture under the hands of SG Gwedemantashe, the EFF was formed. Another 6% broke away from the ANC from the 9% of COPE in 2009. Does that list represent the ethos, the values, and the aspirations of South Africans?
This is the list of the leadership of the ANC nominated by branches across South Africa. Respected individuals and leaders within their own communities, still respected by us, not by the media, because the media has its own agenda to deal with the ANC and its leadership. That agenda will be exposed with time.
The very same media you're talking to right now.
It's not everybody in the media, but there are people there in the media who are actually orchestrating a plan to see the demise of the African National Congress.
I'm going to take out this book, Gangster State, Unraveling Ace Magashule's Web of Capture, by Peter Louis Maybach. It alleges that you ran the Free State like a mafia, a gangster. Is there any substance to this book?
Well, the man must appear before the court of law and tell the court of law how I was running the Free State. I was one of the most democratic leaders, I can actually tell you. This book is talking about my struggle credentials. Fortunately, some of the people are still alive. And let's not give people enough ammunition for now. In South Africa, I'm not fake. In the history of struggle, I'm not fake. Things will be exposed in a court of law. Because these are simple lies.
Did you, one early morning, go to the former Mangaung and Bloemfontein mayor, Thabo Manyoni, your former deputy chairman in the Free State, and speak to him about working with Atu Gupta, the two Guptas, in anything they needed in Bloemfontein and in the Free State? Did you speak to Thabo Manyoni? Is what Thabo Manyoni alleging a fact or false?
Me talking to Atul, I've never done so. That's why I say wait for the court so that we expose these matters in court. And people who have gone to the Guptas must come out themselves. They shouldn't hide and say, I took them to the Guptas, when they have been going to the Guptas many times themselves. And they were saying, the Guptas must never tell me. So, watch that space.
So you had a very good and close relationship with the Guptas?
I know the Guptas. I knew the Guptas long before. I was introduced to the Guptas during the era of Thabo Mbeki. I don't know all the brothers, Guptas. All South Africans have been to the Gupta's house, be it Helen Zille, be it Mangosuthu Buthelezi, be it Holomisa, be it leaders of the other political parties. During Diwalis, they've been there. A lot of ANC leaders have been to their weddings. I've been to Motsepe's house, I've been to Robert Gumere's house, I've been to... What is your problem? We have not denied anything. Because we have nothing to hide. We are not crooks. I've not actually taken a cent from anybody. But the public must judge me, and they must judge the writer of the book and whoever his sources are. Because some of the sources quoted there is false, fabricated stories.
So Thabo Manyoni is lying in your point of view?
A non-factor.
The former treasurer of the Free State,
Yeah.
former MEC, he's testifying tomorrow at the State Capital Commission of Inquiry. He's made some explosive allegations against you and your persona.
What is explosive? There's
He's-
nothing explosive there, because I've not done anything with Mxolisi Dukwana. You will know more about him with time.
Just say a little bit. What do
You
you
will
know
know
about him?
about Mxolisi Dukwana with time in a court of law. When I say court of law, I am going to a court of law, and I want people to appear before a court of law. And they must come out very clear, because there is a difference between a commission and a court of law.
Have you read this book?
I've read that those stories. It's just nonsense.
Why didn't you answer to Peter Louis Mayberg's 60 questions that were
When
sent to
did
you?
he send me 60 questions?
He said he sent you 60 questions when he was in the process of compiling and publishing his book.
Where did he send those 60 questions to?
So is he lying?
He's a blatant liar. We'll prove in court that the man is a blatant liar.
What is your perspective of what truly transpired in your time in the Free State? You campaigning to be the Secretary General of the African National Congress. What transpired during your tenure in the Free State province? There was the Free Dairy Farm. There are allegations of an asbestos contract, which a businessman later on was shot down around Sandton. The allegations that slush fund was for you. There was money in the boot, allegedly in that car.
That's why I say I have nothing to do with those things. Let's go to a court of law. When people know all these things, they don't lay any criminal charges. They write books. So let's not enter that part of the debate. The court of law will deal with this matter.
Has your legal
I
team...
am a credible leader in the ANC. I'm a product of struggle of the people of South Africa. I'm not fake. I will prove it with time.
Who's fake?
I'm not fake. I'm not talking about anybody. Because when we are propped up by the media, people think that you are a real leader. No. And that's why I'm not worried about the media. Because I know their agenda. And their agenda will be exposed.
Who are those people in the media?
Leave it to me and let me go to court.
Do you feel as if there's an orchestrated campaign in the
There
media
is.
against you?
There is. There has been. Against many leaders of the African National Congress. You find them guilty in the public court.
Does it not worry you that your children, your son specifically, Tsepiso, and your daughter are linked to, in particular, your daughter linked to contracts with the Free State Development Corporation in the Free State, and your son working with the Guptas, going into business with them, and all the allegations surrounding the Gupta family?
No, my sons, my daughters, my everybody has their own right to do whatever they want to do. They are adults. Are you saying as South Africans they must not do business? As South Africans they must not be employed in government? What should they do?
Are you not using your influence and power with alleged business people for their benefit?
I have never done so. I don't sit in bids committees, adjudication committees. I don't run any department. After 25 years, you come to me and say, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the eve of elections. Timed. Deal with him. Deal with the ANC. Make sure that they take him out of the ANC. Nobody will do that to me.
They want to take you out of the ANC?
Yes, there is a well-calculated plan.
When? At the National General Council?
Let's leave it. No, I'm not worried because I know I'm one of the leaders elected by branches and structures of the African National Congress, like many others. And the attack is not only on me. So let's not talk the politics of the ANC, the politics of the country. You were here about the list. Let's focus on the list. And I am more confident that the justice and the truth will triumph.
SG, There is an adverse court judgment against one of your former ministers on SASA. There is a court judgment on, not even a court judgment, a court judgment on SASA. There's a judgment on the former Minister of Home Affairs and Finance, Malusi Kigaba, having lied under oath. There is allegations on Mantashe. There's allegations on findings on Peggy Cele through the days of when he was commissioner of the police and the buildings around the scandals with Rusha Bank, with the businessman. There is Vincent Smith. There is Cedric Froelich. There is Bongani Thomas Bongo. If you are saying that is a true, genuine list of the leadership of the ANC, certain quarters of society may say those individuals are compromised.
When President Ramaphosa made Peggy Cele the Minister of Police, you guys never raised this issue. That's why I don't understand the agenda of the media. You now raise it, but Peggy Cele has been in Parliament and is Minister. And you now come late and say Peggy Cele is not supposed to be in Parliament.
It's the PLF.
Because of, but you know, as the media, this question has been there. President Ramaphosa made Peggy Cele the Minister and the ANC, but Tabilem is made the Minister. With all those facts, was the President not sober?
SG, I'm going to ask you a direct question. Did you, as the ANC top 6, condolences to Mam Nomvula Mokonyane on the loss of her husband, but would be the resume, I will ask this question. Did you call Mam Nomvula Mokonyane before the top 6, after you were sent as the SG to go and communicate with her that she must relinquish herself from the list? Did she request to come and speak to the entire top 6 on the allegations against her?
There was no stage where I was sent to go to Nomvula and say, Nomvula, get out of the list. Nomvula is not guilty of any other thing. Yes, the meeting with top 6 did take place, because I can see their sources which you always claim. That meeting did take place, and Nomvula said, like any other leader of the ANC, I have never done things. There are these allegations against me. And Nomvula is right, and Nomvula must be defended by the ANC.
Did she say the president has been fingered through Busasa? Did she say that Gwede Mantashe himself has been fingered in Busasa?
Nomvula has never said those things. I don't know where you get them from.
SG, the Integrity Commission. We are taking the list to the Integrity Commission. What's the thinking? What's the basis behind
I'm
this?
sure the Deputy Secretary General has addressed this matter. And I agree with his position, or with the position he has actually stated to you. Fortunately, you interviewed her. So what she said is what the ANC is saying. One voice.
One voice.
Yes.
Which would be, when are you receiving those recommendations from the Integrity Commission? Have they started with their work? What update have you received from them? And when was this message communicated to them?
I'm not sure, because the DSG is dealing with that matter. So it's an internal ANC matter.
My last question to you. Will you be at liberty to share to us the processes of your legal process with those whom you perceive have an agenda against you, and Peter Louis Mayberg's book? Would you be able to share with us the communication between yourself and the legal team on the kicking off of the processes?
We must be informing you the time we go to court. And you must go to court. This must be publicized. It must be on 403. Witnesses must come. All those people cited must come and go to a court of law and be interrogated, and must come with proof and facts. And I can tell you, I have never done anything which is unlawful, illegal, wrong, unethical.
Are you corrupt? I asked that question for the last time.
You know, 1996, Terra Lekota as Premier said, I'm corrupt. He established a commission of inquiry. That commission of inquiry took more than 9 months. And I was never found, even by that commission, to be corrupt. And you, the media, you never actually related this story to the public. So in the eyes of the public, I still carry that stigma. And that's why I'm here today. I didn't worry about those things because I knew I have not done anything wrong. I can tell you during my term and leaders, because I always believe in collective leadership. I'm not this individual who makes a lot of noise and see wrong in other leaders and rush to the media. I carry the ANC as a collective leadership, and I believe in collectivism. I'm not myself, I'm part of the organization, and that's why I will forever, and that's my culture of the history of my struggle. And I spend time in the ANC. I will make sure that I defend the leaders of the ANC when they are under attack. And when they are defended by me, at times you're gonna think it's something else. Because there are leaders who have been when they were under attack, who have been defended by other leaders.
Are you speaking about former President Zuma?
What about him?
Are you going to defend the incumbent leaders of the ANC like you defended the former president?
We have defended everybody who has not done any wrong until that wrong is proved. When the wrong is proved, a leader of the ANC will step aside by a court of law. That leader of the ANC will step aside.
Will you step aside if you are found to have erred?
By
and
the
have had
court
your
of
hand-
law.
By a court of law, if you have had your hands in the cookie jar.
What choice do you have? And the ANC respect the court of law.
But there's a court finding against Malusi Gigaba having lied.
No, it's not true what you are saying. Please read all those things. Gigaba, as a member of the cabinet, there are certain processes, and that's why the president had to release Gigaba as a member of the executive, not as a member of parliament.
But
This has happened to many. Terra Lekota said, I've forgotten to fill my book, where you declare your interest. And when he was Minister of Defense, he said, I apologize to Parliament. Why are you, the media, why are you so selective
okay,
on all these matters?
let's engage on the Court judgment on former President Zuma, on Nkandla, and where he later on had to apologize for his alleged or non-role in the building of his homestead in Nkandla and the 246 million rands.
Samke, let's not mix issues today. Today you wanted to talk about the list. Now, people gave you, they make headlines. Magashule has changed the list. There is going to be a special national executive committee. People are going to fight Magashule. There was no fight there because the list was a product of a collective. The list was a list of provinces, of the National List Committee. Those sources of yours who actually told you that there's going to be war now, we're going to attack Magashule, there was no attack there. There was no attack there.
You speak as if this organization that you are leading is in turmoil and
No,
is
this
fractured.
organization is good. It's wonderful. It's strong. It's going to win elections. We are not an arrogant organization. We come from that background and history of humility. We serve our people and we'll serve them. And we are not going to be told by the media that we are not saving them. The people know us better. The people on the ground, South Africans, know us better.
The man who's the former SG of the ANC, former deputy president, former president of the Republic, saying the ANC is in a far off worse position than it was before the 2017 NASREC conference. What's your view on that?
You know, I might be 59 today, but I still regard myself young. The way we are cultured, we don't criticize the elder, right? We discuss matters internally as the African National Congress, and that's where the matters are. We'll discuss internally. Our elders, we will never say anything to them. They have views, but I believe in collective discussions
Is
and
SG,
building the ANC.
is the SG of the ANC, Ace Magashule, safe? Will he come back after the National General Council?
Maybe you know something which I don't know.
You said that people want to get rid of
I'm
him.
a product of branches of the ANC. When branches say out, you're out. When branches say in, you are in. So our future, our destiny is determined if you are an ANC cadre leader. It's determined by the basic unit of the ANC, which is a branch. Branches have a voice here. And once branches have elected you, you are elected by branches. You'll only be removed by branches, nobody else.
Well, Thembekile, that was the Secretary General of the African National Congress, Ace Magashule, speaking and spitting fire on issues of him wanting to be removed, spitting fire on the issues of the national to national list, defending those whom you thought he would never defend, like who criticized him when he was still in the Free State, and also speaking about this is a process that started at branch level to province to national on the issues of the national to national list, and also speaking on the controversial book written by Peter Louis Mayberg on his days as the Premier and Provincial Chairman of the ANC in the Free State, also saying those are all lies and he is indeed taking legal recourse in these matters.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful, Maseko.